Okay, thank you, David. Well, first of all, thank you to TradeOutLoud and TimingResearch and David for hosting this great event and also giving me another opportunity to present. This is my second event with you guys, and I am very humbled by the opportunity. So thank you so much. And also to all of you who are attending for staying for my presentation and letting me share my thoughts with all of you. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Agnieszka Wood, and I am a trading mindset coach and CEO of Ahead Coach. And I am also a founder of my signature mindset coaching program, The Confident Trader, that is focused on transformation from being stuck in a losing cycle to consistency and profits. And during this presentation, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I will try to answer them as we go or at the end of the presentation. And it might be that I will ask you something. So let's communicate through the chat. So the topic of today is the secret strategy that you need to make your money back. And I have chosen to talk about this topic to you because I know how much pressure the losses that you made in trading can create, and to what extent they become a roadblock on your journey towards consistency and profitability. And I don't have all the answers, but I will ask questions that cause a fundamental shifts that will change the way that you perceive things, how you think, and how you feel about yourself, and how you act as a trader. And today, I will help you discover how to recover from your losses. And I invite you to allow yourself during this presentation to look at yourself with a very honest eye, be completely honest with yourself. And even if the answers that you will be receiving that are coming from inside are not exactly what you want to hear, remember that that might be just the ones that you need to hear in order to move forward. So let's begin, shall we? Are you guys ready? This is Haley. When I met her, she was 5 years old. And when I met my husband, she was the girl in his life. And she definitely knew it. But she accepted me very easily into their lives. And very soon after, we formed, with the three of us, a loving family. When they moved to live with me from Florida to the Netherlands, she was, as a typical Florida girl, she just simply very easily adjusted to the new weather conditions and to the new life. And she enjoyed all the new experiences. We have traveled together through Europe quite extensively, and she loved every minute of it. She used to love riding the convertible, and she definitely knew how to ride it in style. I remember that one afternoon when she was in the back seat and I turned around and somehow she wrapped my scarf around her head and just emerged from the back seat like this real lady in a convertible. She always made us laugh. In 2013, we moved back to Florida and she was happy to be back, and she definitely enjoyed again the outdoor lifestyle. These were her last days watching the sunrise in Miami Beach. 3 years after we moved to Florida, all of a sudden, she developed cancer. And within less than 3 months, she was gone. Just like that. Even though I have said final goodbyes to people I loved many times in my life, Haley's departure was like nothing I have experienced before. Losing her was something that I was not prepared for, and definitely not ready for it either. And I did not want to accept it. But whether we wanted it or not, it was happening. No matter how much we wanted to get her back, we knew she's not coming back. And getting another dog, like everyone said, just why don't you get another dog? Was just not even an option, because all we could think of was there is no dog that can replace her. If you have ever lost someone that you were really deeply connected with, like really deep in your heart, you know that it is not easy to just move on. It often takes time to get over the loss, and you do, because you know that you simply have no choice. And sooner or later, you have to accept it. There is simply no way that we can reverse the time, and no matter how badly you want it. And yes, seeing these pictures again still brings up a lot of emotions, and I still miss her. It has been nearly 10 years now. But I also still feel a lot of love and appreciating that I had the privilege to have her in my life, that I was able to experience her unconditional love and taking life as it comes, because this is what life is about, living in the moment. And sometimes there are things that we don't like, and we rather don't have them happen. But the only way that we can move forward is to accept it and learn what we can from those experiences, and then move on and release it. When I opened my trading account in 2010, I had no prior knowledge or experience or financial background at all. I actually studied marketing and management, but I always was much more interested in human psychology, much more than numbers. And at that time, I had my own marketing agency and plenty of money to play with. It was the challenge, the new thing that attracted me to trading, something that I have never tried before, and where I could prove to myself that I can conquer anything if I want to. And I had beginner's luck, or as I call it, actually unluck, because it gave me completely wrong expectations. In my first trade, I made about $1,200 in about 60 seconds, and I was totally sold. In the next 2 years, I made terrible decisions that cost me a lot of money, like buying a triple leveraged ETF, Nugget. Maybe you're familiar with that. I have watched it go down, and I have never recovered my money. When I moved from the Netherlands to the US in 2013, I decided to take things seriously with trading and actually followed trading education. I went and did 3 months bootcamp. I learned about technical analysis, market dynamics, and I wrote a trading plan. And I started with 3 months paper trading. And after that, I just went live. I traded momentum stocks mainly at that time, and breakouts and pullbacks. And my go-to setup was a bull flag. I was really good at it. And the first 2 weeks, I did really good. I did great, actually. I stayed very poised, very disciplined, and I made $10,000. And I thought, this is easy. This is great. This is how it's going to be now. Then I got into some biotech, short squeeze. I had no idea what it was, and lost 30% of my gains from the 2 weeks in one trade. And in the next 2 days, I lost the rest. So there I was, devastated, confused, totally shocked about what just happened, and really, really scared that it is so easy to lose money. And I could not trust myself that I wouldn't lose more. And this incident had a really incredible impact on my confidence, and I was only making it worse. I kept trying to trade anyhow and make my money back. But I was so scared to take another loss. So every time the trade would go against me, I would remove my stop and then add to the loser, then oversize and overtrade. Maybe you recognize this cycle. I know that it is not foreign to many traders. Then I would get mad at myself, make promises to stick to my rules, only to break them the following day. If you are familiar with the Greek methodology, this cycle always makes me think about Sisyphus. He was the founder and the king of Ephyra, now known as Corinth. Hades punished him for cheating death twice by forcing him to roll an immense boulder up a hill, only for it to roll down every time it neared the top, repeating this action for eternity. And this is exactly how the following 2 years of my trading looked like. I was really trying very, very hard to trade with discipline and stick to my rules. But at the end of the day, week, and sometimes even a month, my whole month profit, I would just simply end up right back where I started. I would give it all back. And I just felt so stuck. It was like being in a maze. Just imagine knowing that there is a way out, but you are in the middle of it and simply not being able to find it. And nothing would work. I tried different strategies. I read more books. I signed up for different chat rooms. And I kept losing not only my gains, but also my confidence. And I started really deeply questioning my ability, whether I will ever be able to make it. And I felt like I was so deep in it already. I invested so much time and I lost so much money that I simply couldn't stop. I had to keep going. That was the most logical thing I could come up with. I had to make it work. And I felt I was so close. I just didn't know which way to go. And trying to solve this problem while I was in the middle of it was so frustrating. And it was really overwhelming and sometimes even disorienting because I just kept running in circles. When we are trying to solve a problem that is right in front of us, we are sometimes so close to it that we just simply cannot look objectively at it. And we cannot think clearly about the best way to approach it because we only see one side of it. So what is the best way to get out of a maze? What would you say? What's the best way when you are just in the middle of this big maze and you know there is exit? What's the best way to do it? Well, the key step to it is to gain some perspective, right? To step back and to look at the problem from outside or from the top, to have an overview. Because when you are in the middle of it, sometimes we are just too focused on the details and we just cannot see the big picture. And by taking a step back and looking at the problem as a whole, we can gain a better understanding of what is the real issue and what we need to do to solve it. What I can see very often from other traders is that when they have lost money in the market, they have this need and urgency, this deep desperation to make the money back. And instead of looking forward and focusing on the steps that take them forward and actually to make money, that they can make money, they keep looking back and they keep their attention on the money that is gone. And the money is gone. It's lost. It's not coming back. And if you keep doing that, you cannot move forward because you did not get over the loss. And that often translates to a feeling of desperation and feeling pain. And when you are in pain, it is really hard to see the positive side of any experience. It is really difficult to see the possibilities, the opportunities. And we all understand rationally that the time will eventually heal the wounds, but the sooner you will start looking at what was good about the experience that hurt, even if it was painful, the sooner you will accept it and start creating the future. To get some distance and see the lesson could mean taking a break from trading for some time, even if it's just simply a week, just to help you to look at yourself and your trading and your issues objectively and look at what is causing you the problems. Why are you stuck? Because it is not easy to have an objective view at something that you are connected emotionally to. And it could mean also seeking input from other people who can actually offer a fresh perspective, who are not attached to your money, who also have gone through the same challenge before. And they can show you the way because they have gone through the journey. Someone who knows what to look for and that they can point you in the right direction. Have you ever been on safari? Any of you? Any of you went to safari? Like, whether it's in Africa or... Have you ever done that? Oops. Okay, so no one? All right. So let me take you to safari. Years ago, oops, sorry, wrong screen. That's better. Years ago, I went to South Africa and I went to Paul Kruger National Park. I was very excited to go on the big 5 game drive. I actually did hear about that safari park. I don't know if it was in San Diego. I know in California there is a safari park, and I actually planned my trip to go there twice, and you will not believe it, but one time there were big fires, so I had to cancel my trip, and the second time the COVID pandemic was still in a full blow, so I couldn't go either. So that is definitely still on my list. So when I went to South Africa, the 5 big the African big 5 animals are the lion, leopard, black rhinoceros, and the bush elephant and the buffalo. And the first day when I was there, I took the car that I rented and I drove for hours and hours through the park. I think I departed like at 5 o'clock in the morning and until 6 o'clock in the afternoon, until the dark, basically until the dusk. I was going through the park looking to see the big 5. And unfortunately, I only saw impalas, a lot of them. There were a lot of impalas. That was, and I was very excited, but it was definitely not the big 5. They, I've learned later that impalas are pretty much a lion's food and they're everywhere. At some point you're like, oh, okay, nothing special, but they're really hard to miss. But that's pretty much it throughout the whole day. And it was really hard to believe for me that I couldn't see any other animal in one of the largest game reserve in Africa. And it had over 7,500 square miles. I mean, it was beautiful, don't get me wrong. It was really absolutely fantastic. But I really was excited to see what I came for. right? The big five, that's what you're going for on safari. So next day, I took a guided tour, and it just a completely new world opened up to me. And I realized that if you don't know what to look for, you can completely miss the most important things that you are actually want to see. And you can spend hours and days wasting your energy and then walk away with nothing. So if you haven't been on safari, let me take you and let's see if you can actually spot the animal. Let me know in a chat if you can see it, okay? So we are looking for the big five. Can you spot the animal here? Do you see an animal? And what animal do you see? I'll give you a hint. This one, giraffe, very good. I'll give you a hint one. This is not the one of big five, right? So we got the giraffe here. Okay, that was an easy one, just to warm you up. How about this one? Do you see anything here? Very good. So that's actually the impala. Do you guys, anyone see it? Noah, you got a good eye. There it is. All right, and now the most difficult one. Do you see an animal? And this one is actually a big five animal. So what animal do we say here? It's not jaguar, but I think I know you definitely see it, but this is leopard. Very good. All right, guys. Well, very good. So now when you go to a safari, you know you would be good at it. So I started telling you about my trading journey, right? So at some point, when I was stuck in that, yeah, they were definitely hidden well. And those were, you know, those were pretty easy. But I remember when we were driving with a guide, which was an experience in itself, because they really take you deep into the bush. They know where to look for them. And when they see, you know, they actually left us in a truck, and they said, or in a jeep, and they said, they left a gun with us, and they said, well, if you see an animal, just shoot. Not the animal, obviously, but just scare him. And they went to look for traces. So they came back and they say, oh yeah, the lions must be here because we just saw a half-eaten zebra. So they're probably laying somewhere chilling here, because when they eat, they cannot do anything after. So it was a fantastic experience, but it was definitely eye-opening when they were pointing us the signs, what to look for to actually see the wildlife. And that's with everything in life. It's so much easier to see things when someone else can look from outside and know what to look for and point you in the right direction, especially in the wild world as trading. So back to trading. At some point, being stuck in a cycle, it started to, you know, the stress started taking toll on my health and having really impacting my well-being. And that's when I decided to take a break. And I was very fortunate that I had already an experience as a life coach and NLP master practitioner for over 20 years. And I knew what to look for. And I decided, I knew that I have to go on the journey of self-discovery to look at the problem closer, but from the distance. So without that emotional load, I just wanted to figure this out. Like, why wasn't I succeeding? What was wrong? Why did I keep hurting myself by taking those huge losses? I knew I was able to make money. I saw that I was able to make sometimes even 20,000 in a month, but then I would lose it all. I was thinking, am I crazy? What am I doing to myself? Why was I in the habit of acting against my best interest? And one day it hit me. I was simply playing out one of my internal subconscious programs that I was never even aware of until trading brought it back to the surface. Trading will do this to you, and maybe you have heard before that in trading, all the demons are coming out, right? Trading has that ability to trigger your demons. When I was 3 years old, a long time ago, the doctors discovered that I had a heart defect. So as a little girl, I ended up having an open heart surgery and a pretty traumatic stay in a hospital, I can say. Even though I was very young, certain images are really still very vivid in my memory from that time. But that surgery and the following years had an incredible impact on my psyche. For years, I was not only bullied by the kids because of my pretty extensive scar from the incision that I have under my shoulder, but also I was experiencing shortness of breath and a sharp pain in my heart area on a regular basis. It was probably just from stress, but as a kid, I thought there's something wrong with my heart every time that happened, and that I might possibly be dying. And that continued for a long time. And finally, I started experiencing regular panic attacks. For years, I was under the supervision of cardiologists, but the panic attacks were really never taken seriously or addressed in any way. My doctor kept saying that my heart is fine, and I should stop panicking. And, she was telling that also to my mom. So my mom was also like, just stop panicking. There's nothing wrong with you. I really felt alone and terribly scared every time that the attack happened because I didn't know what to do about them. And I didn't know what it was. So somehow I had to learn how to deal with it on my own as a child. And all of us have some kind of traumatic experience from the past. And it doesn't have to be something dramatic, but something that has to do, something emotional, something that made a big impression on you. And you learn how to deal with that. You make decisions, you simply find a strategy to deal with that, right? To move on with your life. And regardless how hard it was for me at that time, now I can appreciate it from the time, right? From the perspective of time. This childhood experience, which, well, you can call it trauma basically, but it had a very positive impact on my life because I had to fight my fear. And I had a lot of fear. That fear of dying caused all kinds of other fears. In fact, the first time I was able to switch off the light when falling asleep on my own was when I was 21. Even hard to believe, even for me when I'm saying that. But the fear was real to me at that time. But because of that, I developed a very strong survival instinct. And not only that, I also became a very independent person because I knew that I cannot rely on anyone to help me because simply no one was listening or trying to help. So my conclusion, very rational conclusion as a child was, I have to find the way myself and I have to become independent. And throughout my life, I kept fighting and I kept surviving. And I became really good at it. And eventually, this cycle became so natural to me that somehow I was finding myself in situations in my life where, where I always had a challenge to fight. And not just that, the situations that were simply not good for me. Somehow, it seemed like I was seeking them out. But once I was in it, and then I struggled through it, and I came on top, I felt actually really good about myself. And I even managed to convince myself that I like to struggle. While in reality, I was stuck fighting and I wasn't moving forward. I was always back to the same place. I was stuck in a cycle. And very soon after I started trading, this pattern became one of my biggest obstacles. I didn't know that at that time yet. But the need for survival was basically holding me back and made me sabotage myself so I could overcome the challenge again and feel good about myself. And in a weird way, even though the losses made me feel like a loser, fighting my way back made me feel strong again. Does that make sense? The only problem was that I was wasting my time running in circles. And instead of thriving and moving forward, I kept coming back to the same point, just wasting my energy trying to survive. But only after I became aware of it, then I could do something about it. Because for those 2 years that I was stuck in the trading cycle, I was only looking outside of myself. Different strategy. What am I doing wrong? More books. What haven't I learned? It wasn't about me. And it was just such an eye-opener for me when I actually looked inside, stepped back from trading and look at myself. It's like, oh my God, this was just so fundamental. And I had to do something about that, because just by becoming aware of it, it just didn't disappear, right? And if I didn't do anything about it, I could not come back to trading, because the market was the perfect ground to trigger the survival instinct. And it does it to so many traders. I don't want to say everybody, but most of traders that I work with have some kind of survival pattern or some kind of instinct or a habit that they have developed based on experiences from the past that they just keep repeating. And it is not about trading. Market really gave me plenty of opportunities every single day to create situations where I needed to survive, where I put myself into this challenge. And going through the self-discovery process, I saw that actually it was not just in trading, that throughout my life, I was playing out the same type of scenarios in different contexts of my life, like relationships. I would sabotage my relationships, not knowing that at the time. My career, the moment that I was ready to take off, to break out, I would just throw my life upside down and start all over, not allowing myself to succeed. And becoming aware of it and work with it, it really allowed me to shift it and then go from surviving to thriving. And it has changed everything. After I made that shift, I doubled my account value in 6 months, and my profit factor was just through the roof. And I truly enjoyed my trading. There was no stress, no sweaty hands, no pounding heart. And the change was visible not just in trading, but also in my life, because we trade how we live. And this change, it seems like the world just opened a new door for me. And now I have been trading for a living for over 5 years. And I really totally enjoy it. And I can see how that survival instinct, it is still there, but it is sort of dormant. I know it's there and I don't fall for it anymore. When it gets triggered, I'm able to say no because I'm aware of it. I know what the triggers are. And I'm choosing to thrive. And since 4 years, I also helped traders who are struggling with their sabotaging habits and are stuck in their losing cycles to I take them through the self-discovery journey, similar to what I did, so that they can make the transformation and detach from the past, from the losses, and open the door to the future that they want. So the question is to you, what is it that it's blocking you from moving forward? What is the scenario that you are playing out over and over again that is keeping you stuck? And don't look just at trading, because if you look at trading, and I'll ask you, what self-sabotaging habits will you find when you look from the distance? Probably the first thing that pops up, you will say, yeah, I break my rules. Yeah, I stick to the loser. Those are symptoms. This is not your issue. This is not the problem. This is not the pattern. This is a symptom of something on a deeper level, of some kind of belief, of something that you are used to doing. Like kind of if you connect the dots, you will see that structure where you operate in. It's like in that box, and that keeps you stuck. So if you look from outside the maze, what is it? What is that self-sabotaging habit when you look from the distance? We'll talk about it. I see a question. We'll talk about it in a minute. So it is not without the reason why people choose certain professions in life. Many psychologists are trying to solve the mystery of their own problems, right? That's why they get into psychology. Many doctors, they are driven by the desire to help others that are sick, often because they have lost someone they love to a sickness. So ask yourself, what is driving you to be a trader? And we talk a lot about the why. Why do you want to trade? But what are you trying to prove to yourself with trading? And then listen carefully. Keep asking those questions and listen. And all you need to do is to be honest with yourself and not resist the answers that you are going to hear. Because the answer that comes is maybe what you need to hear in order to move forward. And probably the reason why you are still stuck, if you are, and if you are not able to move forward, is because you are not listening, because you are resisting to hear the truth. And I found that resisting is what usually that thing that we struggle with, because we don't want to accept what is. We don't want to accept the loss. That's why we try to make it back. We don't want to accept that the trend has changed and we were wrong. That's why we fight. We want to prove ourselves right. We want to prove our own value. But as long as we resist what is, we cannot move forward. Because everything that is going to pass. And it is already, so you cannot change it. And you fighting against it and just keeping you stuck. The world moves on. So the real question about, so the question about the secret strategy, that is the topic of this presentation, is really not about how to make your lost money back. It is about detaching yourself from the loss. And that secret is within you. Discovering how you keep yourself attached to what's already gone. And that will help you release the loss. That will help you release the past. That will help you to accept what is, so that you can leave the past in the past and get back on track towards the future that you want. So if I can leave you with something that will help you to start the process, make living in the present moment a habit. Because that will help you detach from the past pains and regrets, also from the future expectations that you have about yourself as a trader, about where you should be already right now with your trading. And it will help you to just be present and accept what is right now in front of you when you trade, to be where the price action is, which is happening every moment. Every single moment is changing. So you cannot be somewhere else if you want to trade it. You have to be here. And you have to focus on every step of the journey that is happening. Because when you are doing that, you don't dwell in the past. And that doesn't pull you back. And then you also don't go too far in the future, because you're enjoying where you are right now. And you create the future now. So that's really the best place to be. And to help you build good habits, I have prepared, especially this is the first time that I'm actually showing it to anyone. So you're the first one to use it if you wish. This is a free tool for you that you can easily access by going to goodhabittracker.com. That will help you create new good habits, to stay in the present moment, to detach from the past. And then you can replace the old habits that keep you stuck in those cycles by the new ones. Those old habits that do not serve you. And start building new patterns based on new good habits. So just go to goodhabittracker.com and follow the instructions. It is really very simple. It is an online document that you can, it's a Google document, but you can save it for yourself. And it is prepared for the whole year, and you can use it any year that you want. It's very simple. And then you can watch, put your habits and start tracking them, put your trading results, and see how your good habits impact your trading. And I also invite you to check out my podcast. It is relatively new. It has been launched 2 weeks ago, I believe. You can, it will have bi-weekly, so tomorrow, this Friday is the next episode. There are bi-weekly real-life conversations with traders at various stages of their journey. And I deep dive with them into different perspectives, those perspectives that will allow you to see out of the maze, to see the outside, from outside. And oh, I see we have someone Dutch. Graag gedaan. This podcast, I started it because I really want to inspire you to make the change and help you navigate through those emotional ups and downs with self-compassion and confidence, because you need to build self-compassion for yourself. You need to give yourself time and stop pushing yourself. So simply go to Confidence in Trading and choose your favorite streaming service to subscribe. And please connect also with me on social media. Do not hesitate ever to reach out. And if you would like to have some help with identifying your secret strategy that's within you, to detach from the past so that you can break free and spread your wings, just reach out and we can jump on a free call and see what how I can help you. Just remember, the answer is inside. It's within you. All you need to do is to dare to look. So don't wait. Don't waste your time. And I will, thank you so much. The link will work for everyone. Do you mean to like the links that I just gave? That's just a website address. Yes, this is open for everyone. So let me see. I will answer. Oh, which one? Which link didn't work? That's not good. So is it to the guide?
So, your main site link earlier when I posted it, it didn't work unless I put the www in there.
Yeah, it should be without www. I'm gonna post it right now in the chat. This is, well, it is with www. I don't know how. Can you try it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then if you go to podcast on my website, that's where you can find the podcast. How about the link to Good Habit Tracker? Good Habit Tracker.
It was looking, one was working for me, and now it's not.
Working for me as well. Both of, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna post this one as well. This is forwarded domain. So if you do Good Habit Tracker, goodhabittracker.com, it will take you still to my website. So, and if anything is not working for you, just you can always send me an email to launchyourlife@aheadcoach.com, and I'll be happy to answer. You can hit me up on Facebook. I have the Trading Hub, my Facebook group. It's free and open for everyone, but you have to just request access. So let me see. Let me go back to that question that was here. I have the knowledge, but I cannot convert that into confidence to act. Fear of performing. There is no name. So can you tell me a little bit more about that? What do you mean? Because, you know, there's a difference between knowledge and knowing. Knowledge is what you gather from books. It's like, I know what to do, but I just cannot make myself do it. And this is often caused by the discrepancy between your beliefs and what you want. And this is something that it's really important to have it aligned, because the way that the dynamic of the market is, a lot of times our beliefs that we have learned throughout our lives are not directly transferable into the market environment. I just give you a very simple example. If you would tell someone that you just got a new job, but you're gonna be losing money, they will think you're crazy, right? But when you start trading, you will be losing money, and that's not a bad thing. You have to accept you will be taking losses. This is part of your job. But on a deeper level, that is for your subconscious, that's not something that's very normal or rational at all. So there are some, I call it mindset shifts that you need to make. And this is just one example. There is more like that you need to make in order to be able to perform according to what you want, which is living from trading, right? How you change your beliefs. Specific, how you change your beliefs. You're talking about the steps, right? So just trying to think if I have any slide that I could show you. Basically, your belief is nothing else than a thought that, and I'm sorry if you hear any noise from outside. I think they're just trimming some trees. Good timing. Let's accept what is. So your beliefs are just a thought, something that you have formed at some point in your life based on the experiences that you had. And that thought became very strong to the point where you started believing it as it is true. If it's a really strong belief and becomes your core belief, you start identifying yourself and you bring it into the identity level, let's say. And now you think, this is the way I am. Like, for example, if someone in the past was bullying you and told you you were worth nothing, you might have repeated that thought for yourself. It was very emotional, and everything else that was happening in your life, you were using those experiences as sort of confirmation of the thesis. And now it became so strong that you're not just seeing that, okay, someone said that, and I started thinking that about myself. Now you're bringing it into a level of, I'm not worth it. I am a worthless person. And that belief is directing everything you do in your life. You might think, I don't even deserve success. And it is being kind of, making itself visible in everything you do, everything you say even, because it is really influencing you on a deeper level. And you might not even be aware of that belief, but if you are not getting the results you want, there is some kind of belief that you have that is hindering you to achieve what you want and feel good about yourself. So how do you change that is you go back in that process and you change that. You go back first to see where that comes from. What is that experience? What is that thought that you started believing? And you debunk it. You basically start debunking that belief and breaking it down, and you start forming a new belief. But the very first step is you have to find out what that belief is that is directing and orchestrating your actions right now in your life. And in trading, you have to imagine that the market, because you see in a normal life, you have a lot of people around, right? If you, I don't know, go to a store and someone says something and you feel irritated, or at work something happens and maybe someone gives you a compliment. Now you feel good about yourself. It's like you get triggers from everywhere. But if something is what you don't like, you can very easily reject it and project it on someone else, right? You say, oh, he's he's not good. He's, he just said something, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But with the market, the computer is like a mirror and it's projecting everything back to you. So every failure, everything that is not going according to what you thought how it should go, comes back right to you. And it triggers all those things that you have in your backpack. Like all these experiences, all the judgments, all the thoughts, and all the beliefs, they are there in your backpack, and they're just being brought out. They're being triggered. And if you are not aware of those processes, and you are not aware what is being triggered, and you are ending up in a situation of you start over trading, you don't know what happened, and then suddenly later on, you're like waking up from some kind of dream, and it's like, what did I just happen? Why did I do that? And now you start beating up yourself. But all you did, there's a trigger, and there is a momentum, and that trigger triggers a thought, and that thought gains momentum, and it's like a domino effect that is just, you start acting out your pattern, your subconscious program. So becoming aware of it is so important. And if you start that process just simply by observing yourself and making notes, even during trading, what are you telling to yourself while trading? That will be already a good start, because it will help you identify those thoughts and maybe even deeper beliefs that you are repeating to yourself, that might, you might start looking at it as like, why am I even believing this? Remember, your beliefs, they do not have to be true. Your beliefs are just thoughts, and you have around 70,000 thoughts a day. You cannot believe all of them. There's a lot of thoughts that are completely useless, but you keep repeating them, and that's how habits are being formed. That's how bad habits are being formed. And that's how good habits are being formed. So stop repeating the bad habits and start forming the good ones. So are there any other questions? We have 2 minutes. Graag gedaan. Ik vind het hartstikke fijn dat je ook in Nederlands schrijft, want ik heb... dat was heel lang geleden dat ik in Nederlands heb gesproken. Dus hartelijk bedankt. Guys, I haven't spoken in Dutch for a long time. I lived there for 15 years. So this is really, really very nice for me. It warms my heart. So thank you. Maybe one day I write a book. Well, thank you so much for joining. And also to the organizers for having me. Take good care of yourself, and remember, always act in your best interest.